My stepfather issues. Let me first give respect where respect is due. You helped to provide for a woman who had three sons, right? And even when it came to, the extra physical and mental abuse that you put on my little brother, if somebody else fucked with my little brother, he stepped up. He stepped the fuck up. And I remember him getting into it with the neighbor next door because the neighbor next door said my little brother was bad and needed his ass whooped. And he went the fuck off on him. The neighbor fucking moved like within a week. Like, can't live next to this motherfucker. You know? My stepdad was a gangbanger, you know, super blood. Still gangbang to this day. No fucking lie. Sold drugs, gangbang, one of them just extremely West Coast motherfuckers, had the Jerry curl, all of that back in the day. You know, when he drank, man, he some days when he was drunk, he was good in a loving mood, and some days he just turned violent than a motherfucker, you know. And my mother caught the brunt of a lot of that violence, you know. But he didn't abuse me, not physically, not mentally, not nothing. My older brother, you know, no abuse there. And my sisters, both my little sisters, are the children that my mother actually had with him. When it came to his kids, the kids that he had a son that's my age, a son that's a little bit younger than me that was never around. Like his mother would never allow him to come around. And then he had a daughter that's around my little brother's age, who would always pretty much be there. He was a uh, great father figure to everyone except for my little brother. Like I don't, it's weird as fuck. I don't get that shit. Great father figure to everyone except my little brother. Extremely masculine. I learned how to be masculine from him. I learned how not to back away from shit. Like, I got so much heart. You know what I'm saying? Just because I was him. You see what I'm saying? Like I was like him. Like when I was a young adult, like today, today is different because today, I wear whatever the fuck I just walk into Costco and just buy some fucking $30 shoes or some shit like that. But when I was a young adult, I was wearing K Swiss and Nike Cortez and anchor blue shorts and white t-shirts, just like he was. That's all he fucking wore. Like he stayed at Miller's Outpost. Anchor blue every fucking thing. In white fucking pro clubs, with all white fucking Cortez or all white K Swiss, like all the time, you know. Even though he was super blood, like he wore mostly just white all the fucking time, right? Super Dallas Cowboy fan. I remember him actually breaking a bottle over somebody's head, after a Cowboys game. And the Cowboys actually won this game. This was like either New Year's Eve or Christmas. One of these days the Cowboys was playing, and dude was talking so much shit, talking so much Cowboy shit. The Cowboys actually won the game. Things went left, and he broke a bottle over his head, blood all over the fucking porch, man. I promise you, we had bunk beds that we slept in, and I slept on the floor that day because this is the mid '90s. It's a lot of gang banging, a lot of drive-bys, a lot of shit like that used to happen, right? I slept on the floor that night because I was afraid that the person who got his head cracked was gonna come and shoot up the house because only motherfuckers that we knew was gangsters. Like, I tell people all the time, man, I was raised by nothing but gangsters. My stepfather was a gangster. Everybody that was real close in the neighborhood, men that I considered to be uncles, they were gangsters too. But everybody took care of their family. Everybody had kids. Everybody had a wife. Not a girlfriend, long time girlfriend. Everybody was married. Like everybody took care of their family. Like I remember one time when it was a big power outage in the neighborhood, how the whole neighborhood came together. We went to Walmart and bought, the little fucking torch lights you stick in the ground, so on and so forth. And we turned the fucking blackout into a block party because the whole neighborhood knew each other, and everybody was like family. You see what I'm saying? All the kids, so on and so, like it just, electric stoves. What you gonna cook? You know what I'm saying? In a blackout, right? So that's that kind of shit. Like I say, respect due to him in those regards. Like basically was a father figure for three extra kids. Although for one it wasn't, like I say, you know, wasn't a favorable situation for my little brother. Um, but that negative shit, man, that negative shit. Like this little motherfucker was violent. I my first, I won't say first, but one of my youngest memories of this man was walking underneath, or going underneath my mom's bed for something, and all I see is guns underneath my mama's bed, like everywhere. Like when they first got together, my mom stayed in the Crip neighborhood right across the street, from these projects called Casa Rosa. You know what I'm saying? That's 6-0 turf. And obviously, like I say, he's super blood, So he always had all of these guns. Go to the popsicle truck. He had a gun underneath the pillowcase. Going to the popsicle truck to order fucking, you know, to get ice cream for the popsicle truck, right? But I remember clear as day, you know, the first fucking time that him and my mom got into a fucking fight, because it's the first time that I ever remembered, my mom getting beat up. I'm like 4 years old, 5 years old, some shit like that, just all kind of noise, all kind of, just everything. Like the amount of trauma that I have seen, like that I've gone through in my life is beyond ridiculous, right? It's just beyond ridiculous. But like I say, I remember that fucking night. I remember we had this fucking like I say, this like 89, 90, right? We had this fucking tall plant, you know, and I remember him taking the plant and hitting my mom with the fucking plant. Like this is 5 years old. It's already getting etched into my head. Like I say, he was just so abusive, so violent. Most of, I'd say damn near 100% of the time when he was drunk. I'm talking about like 100% of the times that when he got violent, he was drunk. Not saying that he was violent 100% of the times that he was drunk. Just, every time that he actually was violent, he was actually drunk also, um, that's that. Another thing that I had issues with when I'm growing up is just the gang banging. Like I told you guys, when I was talking about my mother issues, how him and my he got into it with my older brother, because my older brother was in middle school, right? And he wanted to rap or whatever. And he went over to, his friend's house. They had a little microphone hooked up to a cassette player. They had the cassette going or whatever, and they rapping. And the friend that my brother was rapping with said "cuz" on it. You know what I'm saying? And he had such a fucking big issue, like, wanting to hurt my older brother, but my older brother, wasn't afraid. Man, Preem was not afraid of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say Preem, got that shit from him also. I know for sure I got that shit from him. You know what I'm saying? But Preem wasn't afraid of shit, you know. So anyhow, you know, that's that. Like, you know, I remember motherfucking I remember the homie Grip, you know, was staying the night at my house or whatever. And you know, we wake up the next day or whatever. And I don't know why I had an attitude or something like that, but I remember, me and Grip being at the front door and he asking us, like, well, what set you claim, you know what I'm saying? And, Grip like I'm a blood, you know? And he asked me, Anthony, what set you from? I said, I don't claim nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like I didn't claim nothing at that time, you know? And he was like, yeah, Prima Crip, you know? And I remember that day because that I think I got triggered by that. I can't be positive on that why I got triggered, but I remember him telling me to go to the store for something. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the store. And he like, I ain't asking you to go to the store. I'm telling you to go to the store. I'm like, I don't care what you're telling me. I ain't going to the store. And instead of going to the store, I just walked off into the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Ran away like fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And he come in the neighborhood looking for me. I'm motherfucking see him hit the block. I jump underneath the car real quick, and all of that. But I mean, shit, I knew I had to come home. Came home. He whooped my ass or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. But like I said, that game banging shit, man. Talking with the homie Skinny say that my step pop's the reason why he gang bang. Brought him through the set like that. It's just crazy, man. But like I say, more than anything, it's the abuse, man. I remember my older brother. Like this is probably a year before he passed, man. Um, he came to my house. I guess he going through something with him and his wife or something. He come to my house and he's crying. You know what I'm saying? And he comes in and he's like, man, I want to talk to you about something or whatever. I guess he was holding a lot of weight because my older brother, immediately after high school, he went to the military. He went to the Marines. And he's holding a lot of weight because that big incident that happened, as far as, him beating up my mom real bad, happened when my brother was in the Marines. And he was like, man, I shouldn't have left y'all, so on and so forth. Like, do you feel like I shouldn't have left y'all? Do you feel like I was selfish for leaving y'all? And I'm telling my older brother, we two grown ass men at this point. I'm telling my older brother, like, no, you had to do what you had to do. You had to go make your life for you. You had to go out and live your life, you know. And he was just like, man, I just feel like, when I left, you know, I left shoes for you to feel that you wasn't able to feel, so on and so forth. So he felt like I resented him for leaving because then I had to be the one. I had to be the protector. I had to be, the person that stepped up and played his role, you know. Um, because before that incident happened, before my brother went to the military, my step pops, went on one of those, situations where he was trying to get violent with my mom. But now my older brother, 18, you know what I'm saying? My older brother beat his ass, threw him in a bathtub, wailed on him, you know what I'm saying? Beat his fucking ass. And so, my older brother felt like, like he finally, made it to the mountaintop. Now he's heading down the mountain, like he reached the peak, you know. And so he felt like because he was able to do that, but then he left to go to the Marines, he felt like the abuse that my mother went through was because he left the Marines and because I wasn't able to fill his shoes. And he felt like he put me in an awkward situation. And I'm telling him, like, you had to do what you had to do, you know. And I told him, like, how after that situation, when I was 19, 20 years old, man, I used to ride around with my blower on my lap looking for my stepdad. Little did I know that he was in prison at the time, right? But I used to ride around looking for this man. Like I would just middle of the day, just be in my feelings, go jump in this Cadillac, blower on my lap, riding through the hood, riding through the north. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I see Dre today, it's a wrap. You know, and so when I told my brother that, he was like, "That's crazy," because when I got out the military And I got back home, I did the same exact thing. And when I had this heart to heart talk with my little brother, fucking when I had this heart to heart with my little brother, this was probably 6 months ago or something, right? Because I've had a heart to heart with everyone except for my little sister now, you know. That one's gonna be super emotional when we do, because like I say, she don't see what she's going through right now. But when I had this conversation with my little brother, this heart to heart, my little brother was telling me, I told him what I just told y'all about my older brother. And my little brother was like, that's crazy. Because right after that situation happened, I was walking through the neighborhood and I seen him. And he was like, Kyle, what's up, man? How you doing? How everybody else doing? So on and so forth. And he was like, I told that motherfucker right there. I say, don't say what's up to me. If I see you around here again, I'm gonna kill you. That's my little brother. But like I said, my little brother's the one who went through the abuse. Went through the mental abuse, the emotional abuse. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know. Only thing I can guess about it is maybe my stepdad knew who my little brother's dad was, and he didn't like him or something. Because when I say no other child in that house went through abuse, but my little brother, I mean that shit. Like, yeah, I got my ass whooped when I was disobedient and so on and so forth. I didn't get my ass whooped for no reason as a kid. Like, I've never had an ass whooping for no reason as a kid. Not one fucking time, not from my mother, not from my stepfather, right? So it's a lot of trauma that I've gone through in life, as it pertains to just the household shit. I really hated having to fucking leave and constantly move. Like, when my mother would leave this man, we just be upstairs playing PlayStation or shit, something like that, and he'd leave, go to the sports book or something to go watch a game, and my mother know he'd be gone for a couple hours, and that was her like window to get out. So she'd come in like, all right, Anthony, here, take this money, take your little brothers, take your little sisters, you don't bring y'all take take your little sisters and all of that. Here, take these bags of clothes. Here, Kyle, grab this. Anthony, grab this. Pring, grab this. Y'all get on this bus. Go to Kiana house. This is her address. That shit happens so many times, where we just live in a normal fucking you know life on a Saturday, and then boom, our fucking whole life is just flipped upside down, because now we are leaving the place that we call home and starting over yet again. You know, that happened so many times. Like the last time, when he beat my mom up real bad, I remember I was in school, in night school. I fucked up my credit so bad in high school that I had to go to night school after high school every fucking day in order to make enough credits to graduate. But then that situation happened and I missed 2 days of night school. You were able to miss 3 days, but I missed the first 2 days of that second semester. And because I missed those first 2 days, they took me out of the school, because they were like, ain't no way he's gonna make it the entire rest of the semester without missing one more day. So because he missed these 2 days, we taking him out. That fucked me up. I had to go to adult school to graduate. But these are my stepfather issues, man. Just abusive. The environment is just. But can't say I didn't get nothing from him. You know, can't say I didn't get nothing from him. You I die by mine, man. I die by mine, but I'll be damned if my kids don't see a stable home. I'll be damned if my son feel like he got to come through the room to stop his mom from getting beat up by me or something like. I would, man, listen. I wish my kids would, but this is one of the reasons why I used to tell my wife all the time, you know, no matter if I didn't like you, or no matter what the relationship going through, I would never break up with her while these kids is young, because I never wanted my kids to ever have a stepfather. That's been one of my biggest fears forever. So even if I didn't want to be in a relationship with my wife, I would still just pretend to, want to be in a relationship, with her, just so that my kids don't ever go through a situation where they have a stepfather, right? So, that's that. So the good thing is that the relationship I have with my wife is actually great. So I don't have to even play with that situation. But my kids won't have no stepfather. That's for goddamn sure. Unless I get taken off this earth and she decides to remarry. But hopefully I've been a good enough role model of what a man's supposed to be, to where she see the traits and qualities that she'd have to choose from, or that she'd want to choose from uh, in the next man, right? But that's that, man. So like I say, man, it's just me being transparent. I know I'm all over the place. I reminisce, and these memories come to me, and I want to inject certain things and so on and so forth, man. But these were my mother issues, my biological father issues, and my stepfather issues, that I've given you guys, uh, you know, over the last few videos. Do with it what you will. Say whatever you want, man. Don't affect me none. I've lived it. Like I say, I lived it. You know, positives about all three of them, negatives, about all three of them. One thing I do want to say about my mother, even though in this episode, even though I know I didn't say it on the one when I was talking about her, is that one thing I will say about my mother, she has never spoke a negative word into me. My mother told me I was gonna be something in life every fucking time. Like I was her golden child. She told me I would be successful in life. The fact that I'm successful in life today is no surprise to me. It's, I didn't come from the situation where, oh, you ain't gonna be shit. That ain't what I heard from my mother, not what I heard from my stepfather, not what I heard from my father. I knew I would be shit. They knew I would be something, like, and so this is why I tell you guys to be careful what you guys say to your children, in those heated moments, because I know how, how one way or the other, how it affects you. Anyhow, man, let me go ahead and give me some rest tonight. Just got finished working 26 days straight, man. I'm tired, and yeah, hopefully I can feel good enough tomorrow to actually cut my hair, man, because I'm over here looking rough than a motherfucker. Gruff make gruff around there a bit. All right, man.